Well, we're on episode 4 of Uzumaki. And I decided something over this last week. I'm probably going to, as soon as I finish this episode, go through and just go through the manga, come back, and talk to you all in this video. Because I don't know if it warrants having another video just by itself. I feel like my intuition is telling me, since this is the last episode of the series, that I'm going to want to go to the manga immediately to find out answers, and I'm not going to want to wait a week to tell you all. So that's what we're going to do. So, as of recording this, it is like radio silence on episode 2. No comments. Nobody's talking about it. It is what it is. I chalk it up as a loss. I feel like episode 3 was better. And we did get some comments that I want to talk to you about those, but I'm really sad because I kind of, honestly, I was going to watch like another fresh series starting out November. And now that I've seen kind of like just how flash in the pan people are with new series, it's really deterred me from starting it, because it's like you invest all your time into watching a show and you're really excited about it. And you're like, oh my God, let's talk about this. And then because people have like heard what others have said on the internet, they immediately tune out and they don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, what the fudge? So, and I've seen that happen with this. I'm seeing it happen with other series. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the internet right now is just like, we're not going to waste our time if one person says it's like a bad show. And I'm like, oh. But I feel kind of bad about that, because I feel like there's a lot of people missing out on the merits of this series and what the animators have done, putting in all the work for it. And it's encouraging people to go read the manga. So I feel like people are missing the opportunity to dive into a series that could be of value because they heard on the internet it's bad. And I'm like, but lessons learned, I guess. So before we start, however, I do want to go ahead and talk about 2 comments that I received. One was from episode 1 and one was from episode 3. So from episode 3, Alexandra Q was talking about the spiraling out of control, feeling like you don't have any autonomy. And she was talking about how it feels like a very accurate representation of giving birth, like what we saw in episode 3 and all that horror, saying that it feels how your body gets so out of whack, overflowed with hormones, it can make you feel terrible and foreign to yourself. And I can see how that, where the new idea of new moms becoming puppets of the spiral is not that far-fetched. And I was like, yeah, that's a really cool way of putting it, that just, it's motherhood is just another spiral in itself. And then she also commented that Shuichi looks really rough, but I really like the way that she phrased this. It's almost as if his rejection of the spiral is him spiraling as well. And I was like, yes, from episode 1, we've seen how the spiral has made him spiral. And it's kind of, I don't feel good for Shuichi. I don't feel like he's making it out of this, but I may be pleasantly surprised. I'm just like, don't take Kiri with you. She's a pure soul. Don't make her suffer as well. And then Kaylin V, 8150, had this to comment with episode 1. And I'm really glad that you commented, Kaylin, about this with the first episode, because I think it is important to note. They said, yeah, Uzumaki is definitely Junji Ito's magnum opus, if you ask me. Fun fact, this is actually not the first time that Junji Ito's works have been adapted into anime. But this is the first time the studio actually understood Junji Ito's work and what made it so horrifying, and why this adaptation, no matter the shit, the drama that happens in the studio, will firmly be the best adaptation of his work into anime. Now, the thing about Junji Ito's work is that one of the hallmarks that makes it so scary is the amount of detail in it, alongside the black and white. As an example, just look at Kiri's hair. There was no simplifying the strands. He drew each strand clump of hair all the way down, and he had to repeat that level of detail for every single panel. With the black and white, all the lines stand out more because the detail can be amplified by the contrast of white or even the gray. This is what the previous versions got wrong. Not only did they simplify the level of detail to make the animations easier, but they colored it. It's not in black and white. This version, not only is everything black and white, but even the characters' movements feel slow and deliberate, with a lot of anticipation, which adds another layer of fear. So yeah, Uzumaki, whatever happens to it, this episode the first one, proves that the studio knew and respected the essence of Junji Ito. Yeah, and I agree with that. I think I talked a lot about it last episode, so I'm not going to reiterate it, but I'm glad that Kaylin pointed that out, yet that, like, yeah, you know, the studio had the intent of respecting Junji's original source material and tried regardless of what the end product ended up being. So I feel like it's a shame to just write it off and not give it its due credit. So, but who knows? Anyway, before we start, I want to give a very quick shout out over to Patreon as well as to YouTube. For those of you that have followed this series, I would love to hear your comments, good or bad at this point, because at least it shows that you showed up to watch and that you enjoyed the experience. Same with Patreon. But honestly, I want to thank Patreon and the philanthropy tier especially, because y'all helped me get onto the streaming service so that I could do the reaction itself, and I really appreciate that. So, a special shout out to Alex Cornejo, Anime Annie, Be Happy, BBT, as well as Bryant Reed, Damage3245, Dana, Danger Zone, Danny Donmai, Devorin, Destiny Marie, Ichu, Eric, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, Elfreya, Liam Poles, Linden, Matthew Palfinier, Murphew, Nameless Monster, Nicholas, as well as Shimoyama, Sunspots, Trails, Translucent Men, Alexandra Q, and Moroni W. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. Now, I've got the, as the Discord calls it, the Devil's Nectar, which is cherry Dr. Pepper. But I'm not going to lie to you all. I've had a horrible migraine all day. It's just now getting better. But I've been wanting to watch this episode so much and dive into the manga that I just literally could not wait. So that's where we're at. But migraines suck, and they're just something that you just have to like power through and push through. But today it was not possible until like I'm recording this like 4 p.m. and it started at like 6 a.m. and it just got manageable around 3. So migraine sufferers, y'all know the struggle. I'm sure this episode will help in all respects. So let's not waste any more time, shall we? We are going to start Uzumaki, the final episode, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Ooh, oh, are we leaving? Are we finally leaving? Oh my God, are they a news crew? Oh, they're coming into the town. No, go back. Leave. Oh my God. Just out of nowhere. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, and the breath is spiraling. Oh shit. Nope. Nope, not at all. Oh my God, girl, get out. Oh my God! It's just not letting anybody get there to report it. Oh my God. And there's the pond. Oh my God, girl. Oh my God, the siren's a spiral too! Oh, it's Carrie. Oh my God, they're the spirals. No! Oh my God. Oh my God. And we're just not going to comment on how they're controlling tornadoes. Maruyama, okay. Where's her parents? Oh, you know. Oh my god. Oh, from the 6 typhoons that were sucked into the pond. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Slow as a snail. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, kind of. Oh my god. Their one house is like the one that's spared. Oh shit. Oh my god, Shuichi, his glasses are broken. Oh my god. Oh, sweetheart. Oh no, Shuichi. Oh my god. And they were the ones that let them in. I like that the row houses, which are the places of poverty, are the only places left. Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's like Hotel California. Wow. Oh. Yeah, did you not see what happened last time? Oh my god, Shuichi. Girl! Oh, well, about that. About that. Oh, there's been more of them all of a sudden, you know. No, 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 no. No, Mitsuo! Bitch, no! Oh, hell no! Oh my god. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, that's can't, nope, nope. Yeah! Yeah, exactly. Ew! Ew, no! Oh my god. Oh, ew! Yeah, no! Oh my god. Oh my god! Yeah! Ew! Oh my god. These people are all crazy! Oh my god. Oh my god, why? Oh my god. Where is Shuichi in all of this? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Nope. The snail, eating the snail people is freaking gross. Oh, I don't feel good about him. I'm not getting good vibes. Not at all. Oh my God. Oh, hey. But what about the mom and dad and the brother? Oh my God. Wow. Oh my God. So it is like a spiral. Oh. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is Hotel California. Oh my God. Poor Shuichi with the cape. Oh. Oh my God. Nope, don't like where this is headed. Oh my gosh, this is just like, it's just descent. I feel like it also talks about like during disasters where things just like reach a fever pitch of chaos. Hmm. Yeah, it's just, it definitely feels like making commentary about disasters and how everything just spirals from that point. Nope. Nope. Don't do it. Nope. Shit. Nope. Ew. Nope. Nope. Oh my God. Yeah, why? Oh my God. Uh-huh. Yeah, nope, not good. Oh my God. Yeah, the fact that you don't know what's causing it is terrifying. Ugh. The fact that Shuichi has the cape on makes me wonder if he's turning into a snail person too, because he has the cape. Oh. Wow. Oh my God. What if they're... Oh, shit. No. Oh, ew. Why? Oh my God. It's just madness. Oh my God. Nope. Oh. Ew. Ew. Nope. Nope. How about we don't? Oh. Ew. That's so gross. And they're trying to like rebuild it. And trying to extend the house. Oh my god. Yeah, I like that they're like talking about staying there now. Oh my god. Oh my god. There must be a way out. Oh! Oh. Oh my god. Are you joking? Was it real? Was it an illusion? Is that cape showing that Shuichi is turning to a snail? Oh, nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. No, oh my god, like Desperate Times, like the cannibalism. Uh-uh. Uh-uh, no girl. Is that really the case? Oh, Shuichi, honey. But, did she eat it or not? Oh no. Oh, sweetheart. What? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Shit. Yeah, I like that these two women are like, let's just go. Shit. Okay. That's at least some way of doing it. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. They're centered around it. Wow. That makes sense. Oh. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh. Wow. I don't feel great about Shuichi at all and why he's covering his back. I feel like he's becoming a snail person too, but he doesn't want to say anything. Man, damn, the spiral trees. I don't know about that. Oh, her hand looks very withered. Oh my god. Also, if you eat, human flesh and, you're a cannibal, it does mess with your brain. There is like a chemical in human meat that if you eat it, it's going to mess with you. Oh my god. Oh my god, not good. Oh my god, ew. Fudge. Ew, no! Oh my god, ew. Oh. Oh my god! Ew, what? Oh my god, nope. Nope. Yeah, let's get out of here. Oh my god. And the tree stump's gonna be a spiral too. Fudge, like his dad. Oh, no, 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 no. Was the brother like already eating the spiral plants? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit, no. And the brother. Oh, Mitsuo. Oh, honey. Nope. Oh, honey. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh my god! No! Oh my god. Oh, sweetheart. Oh. 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 Oh my god. Oh! Ew, oh my god. Ew! Oh my god. The row houses. Yeah, right? How much time? That makes no sense. Oh my god, how insane. Like it's all spiraled out of control. Oh. Oh. That's insane. Oh, girl. Yeah. Splitting up's a bad idea. Oh. So that's where it starts. Oh my god, it's like a labyrinth. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my God. Yeah. What? But girl, if it's been years. How have you never met him if you've been there for years? Oh my God. That's so insane. Oh my God. That's the work crew he's talking about. Oh my God. Yeah. Like history repeating itself. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, why is there no history of it? Well, that could be. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm just like working on it. Oh. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Where'd everybody go? Oh my God. Down to the kiln, and it's a spiral. Oh, I really like the animation in that scene where he's like, if we're gonna die, we're gonna die together. And this at the bottom, oh my God. Instead of the lighthouse like spiraling up, this is spiraling down. Oh, oh, oh no! Shit! God, no! Oh! Oh my God! What the fudge? Oh, damn it. Oh my God, girl. Oh, ooh. This spiral's dead set on saving her life. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Ugh. Yeah, ew. Oh. Oh my god. Like it's a being. Oh. 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 Was that it? Was that it? It was a very cabin in the woods ending. Surely there's more to it. Okay, there is something after credits. That felt very cabin in the woods if you've ever seen that movie. The ending of it. But there's an end credit scene, so surely. What the fudge? What? Oh, I want to see the after credit scene, damn it. Oh. Okay, good. That wasn't very long. Oh my god. Oh my God. And just restarted all over again. Oh my God. What? What? Okay. I'm going to go take a gander at the manga, and we're going to come back and talk about this. Well, I'm back. So thanks to Patreon funds, I went and purchased the digital copy of the 3-in-1 3 volumes of Uzumaki into the deluxe edition that it has. You can find it online. Retailers got it. It's great quality. I'm glad that I have the manga. Honestly, if I'm being real honest with y'all, there's not much that this anime left out that the manga doesn't do. And the stuff that is left out is honestly not anything that really affects your understanding of the plot. As most horror stories go, one element of horror stories that is often used is the fact that we don't get concrete answers. There's the big spiral city at the end underground, and there's the idea that this was a cursed place, and that over time it keeps cursing the same city over and over again. It had the very... In Western culture, we have like the Native American burial grounds as the plot of a lot of horror stories where, you know, it's sacred ground, and of course colonizers and Western audiences just came right in and just trampled it over, and so they're cursed. Which could very well be the case here. But just like those stories, it's never really fully explained. This series honestly reminded me a lot of Cabin in the Woods. A Cabin in the Woods is like one of the few horror movies I actually like, because it's not really outright scary as it is. There's definite messages to it, and the way that people kind of go crazy in Cabin in the Woods is kind of like how they go crazy in this. So it, especially by the end, with the very end, with Kiri and Shuichi ending up together and dying together, it definitely felt like a Cabin in the Woods moment for sure, right? I've got the afterwards setting over here on my phone that I'm going to read. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to pull it up here. But I wanted to go through and talk to you all and kind of explain, after going through the manga, it definitely makes more sense why some elements felt out of place when they did, but then other elements, it's just the manga. So, for example, the story starts out, I wanted to talk about the stuff that's left out. Chapters 1 and 2 are called The Spiral Obsession, Part 1 and Part 2. And they do and don't follow the first 2 episodes. The story starts out with a whirlwind going past Kyrie and introducing her. Her first encounter in the manga is actually with Shuichi's father before we even meet Shuichi, and he's staring at a snail shell on the side of the wall, obsessed, which is why episode 1 called Back to the Snail Shell. They just cut that scene and did it that way. We find out that Shuichi meets her at the train station because he attends a high school next door. He also tries to persuade her to leave the town because he feels that when he leaves, he sees how corrupt the town is from within, which that is a really big theme in this story, is the concept of small towns and how I grew up in a small town, right? I grew up in a small town. I have lived in a small town my whole life. The only exception is when I went to college, I went to a city, but I grew up in a small town, and there's definite benefits to that. And I would argue there are benefits to being in rural areas that I like. But one thing is, a small town can be, on the one hand, a source of community, a source of unity. But on the other hand, if that town is corrupt, it spreads and is contagious, and it can lead to a lot of narrow-mindedness. It can lead to a lot of like kind of not nationalism, but in a way of like, we're together and you're an outsider, and that sort of situation. So a lot of the horror elements that are portrayed in this manga have that same feel that I've had. Like, one of my friends lives in a very, very small, like even smaller than I do, small town. And it's kind of got the reputation of being kind of corrupt and narrow-minded. And she's like, I hate it here, because she's like, I see how things spiral so instantly. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a very real feeling, right? And so the siren is one element of Uzumaki that I kind of do wish was given more precedence, because the siren, it's constantly brought up in the manga that it like has this shrill piercing that, you know, is a result of maybe the spirals and the ruins. There's a lot of foreshadowing in the manga that when you go back and read it after watching these 4 episodes, you're like, oh, I get that. For example, when Shuichi's dad is talking to Kiri's dad, he foreshadows a lot of what's going to happen in the series. Like he says that he's gotten an obsession with snail shells and wind-up springs like the Jack in the Box and mosquito repellent. And I'm like, oh, like it foreshadows everything that's going to happen before it does, which a lot of horror movies typically do. It kind of gives that subtle little build and you don't even realize it. Shuichi's dad freaks out in the manga because the mom, there's a scene where she gets rid of his spiral collection, which in turn leads him to buying the tub that he can become a spiral inside. Also in the manga, as soon as the mom goes to the hospital, that's when we have the scene with the cochlea, with the mom complaining that the siren is piercing her ears. So there's tie back to that. And it transitions to her going crazy with the bug in her ear, stabbing her ears, and dying. That explains why she's cremated afterwards, because in episode 3, it doesn't make any sense. You're like, well, this doesn't make sense. We've already established it was just out of order in the actual episode. So, chapter 3 is Azami's story, The Scar, and that's when she meets Shuichi. And at this point in the manga, it's established that because he's lost both of his parents, he's like a lot worse for wear, and he's not going to high school anymore because he's grieving. And so he also isn't leaving the town. So that's a problem as well that we come to find out through this, right? So there's more with Azami in this chapter, such as her revealing that she realizes the spiral in her head is on her forehead. She laments also as well. There's a couple added scenes where she laments that now that she can't have Shuichi, that she knows what the boys in her school were feeling like with her. And so to Kiri's credit as well, she does tell Azami to stop pursuing Shuichi. She's like, he's my boyfriend, leave him alone. And she doesn't listen, and everything plays out essentially like it does in the anime episode. Now, another big point where things like kind of go a different route than the anime is that chapter 4 is called The Firing Effect. It definitely shows the dad spiraling a lot more than it did in the anime. The dad starts to show how he's affected by the spirals. He starts getting the water for the clay from the dragonfly pond. That's revealed a little bit earlier, which is in the center of the town, in the center of the spiral. Also, there's a pottery show where he showcases the works that he did. And then we find out that Shuichi actually got sick from the dinner scene, not from the food itself, but because the food was being served on plates that the dad had made, which had the spirals on them, but also were made from clay that were made from the remains of his dead parents. So that's why he gets sick, and it makes a lot more sense now, right? And I also like that Kiri kind of scolds her family, like this is very insensitive. Why would we do this? And she's not happy about, the choices her dad is making, and she vocalizes those a little bit more. The killing and everything that happens from episode 3 happens in this chapter as well, but the dad shows his obsession by how he tries to dig out the pottery at the end of the episode from the ashes in the burnt building and says that he still wants to keep making them. So it's like everything's just going awry and getting crazy. So chapter 5 is called Twisted Souls, and it's the story with Kazunori and Yuriko like it is in episode 2. The themes are still there, but it's delved in a little bit more. I really like the theme of the cycle of poverty and how it twists the people that it talks about in the chapter and in the episode. Shuichi also foreshadows the row houses as being a major part of the spiral in how they seem to warp everyone in them and should be avoided. And that comes back to play later on, which is crazy. Shuichi offers also for Kiri and him to leave town again, and this is the last time it happens, but Kiri says no because she doesn't want to leave her family and wants to make sure that Kazunori and Yuriko are safe, and then everything else happens that we see in the episode. Honestly, people give the beach scene in episode 2 a lot of grief, but it's the same way in the manga, so it's like, if anything doesn't make sense about that scene in the anime, it doesn't make sense in the manga either, so it's like... Now, there is a moment where Kiri doesn't notice that Kazunori's body is starting to like twist and spiral, and I'm like, girl, what? That was one moment where I was like, girl, what? But she does establish later on that she was starting to become desensitized to the spiral and possibly going crazy herself. And them twisting, like, mating snakes at the end of the episode kind of foreshadows what happens to Kiri and Shuichi at the very end. So we do. Chapter 6 is Medusa. It's the one with Kiri's hair spiraling in episode 2. The chapter starts out with someone falling from the school roof, which is one of the photos in the anime that Shuichi shows Kiri when they're in the hospital sitting down. So it's an actual scene in the manga. We also learn that the girl that's jealous of Kiri, her name is Sakino. She says that she's lately been she craves being noticed. And when she asks, Kiri replies that she doesn't really like sticking out. So it's kind of like what we talked about in the discussion of episode 2. Shuichi tells Kiri that people are becoming, obsessed with mesmerism, and they're trying to draw attention to themselves, which is another theme of the series, is people becoming narcissistic, and they're becoming self-centered and conceited, and that just leads to like a spiral of madness itself. Kiri laments that she should have left town now that she's involved in the spiral with her hair. And then we do find out that the corpse tied to the telephone line during the typhoon in episode 3, it was Sakino. They kind of extend that scene in this chapter with the spiral hair draining her body literally to that of a corpse. So, no big deal. Chapter 7 is called Jack in the Box, which is about the boy that was killed by the car. Everything that we see happens in the episode. It's just kind of in a different context. Kiri, the one big difference is that Kiri takes the gift that he gave her home. And instead, in the episode of the anime, it shows the gift like he's holding it when he's all squished into the car and it pops up in this Jack in the Box. In the manga, she takes the gift home, and that's when it pops up to be a Jack in the Box. But in the manga, there's a scene where the Jack in the Box kind of comes alive. It's like a hallucination, and it tells Kiri that the boy died for her and he's going to come back to haunt her. And so, because she's freaked out, her and Shuichi end up going to a graveyard and digging up his body. And that's when, like, the jump scare scene at the end of episode 2, and then the scene where he like chases after him, that's when all that happens. Honestly, the Jack in the Box chapter, that chapter and another one that's going to come later on, are just like extra chapters. They just feel like little vignettes. They don't seem to add much to the story as a whole. So I understand why the anime cut them out. I get it. It makes sense. It feels more disjointed in the anime because it feels like it comes out of nowhere. But it kind of comes out of nowhere in the manga too. So it just like, I can tell that they wanted to pay homage to it and they didn't want to not have it because people would probably bitch about it. But it really just doesn't have a place in the story. So I could see why they struggled to adapt it. Now, chapter 8 is the snail, rule of 8. And in this, the first time we see Katayama as a snail is actually when he literally comes into the classroom like the teacher as one. Now, in the manga, it is expanded a little bit. The bully is shown poking Katayama with a stick from outside the cage where he's in. And then there's another scene that's really creepy where he's getting really thirsty and he keeps drinking water. And they're like, man, you need to stop drinking. He's like, I'm super hot. And they're like, it's not hot outside. And then that's the first sign that he's turning into a snail. Now, the difference is Mr. Yokota, he takes Kiri and a classmate to try to track Sumuru and Katayama down when they escape, but the rest of the chapter plays out exactly like it does in the anime. It's creepy as F. The whole idea of people turning into snails, and the fact that the manga and the anime never really explain what the criteria is. It's never explained why some people turn into snails and other people don't. Like, it makes sense why Sumuru kind of turns into a snail because maybe there was an attraction to Katayama and he pokes him with the stick. But like, Mitsuo turning into the snail is not really ever explained. I mean, they all eat snail meat, which we'll talk about, but they don't all turn into snails. So it's just never really explained like why it happens to some people and not others. I don't know. Now, chapter 9 is the lighthouse. There is more with this chapter, mainly how the lighthouse light suddenly comes back on, makes people dizzy. There's more context to the boys going up to the lighthouse. It ends up being that a blast of wind saves Kiri and her brother, and they wake up at the base of the lighthouse, both of them burned, but still alive. So they just barely got out of the grasp of the lighthouse's light, but the other kid does end up dying. I could see why there were some people on Twitter that were mad about, I saw it pop up for episode 2. They were mad that the lighthouse scene was cut. I kind of get it. I think that it could have been eerier. There is an eerie factor with the lighthouse chapter and how it mesmerizes people. It wasn't enough to make me go, oh no, the lighthouse chapter was cut down? What blasphemy. But I was like, okay, I kind of see why people would want a little bit more with it, but there's not honestly too much that the anime doesn't show. It just kind of feels more rushed at the end of episode 2. So I get it. Chapter 10 is mosquitoes. Mitsuo isn't as hurt as Kiri, apparently, so he gets to leave the hospital before her because of the lighthouse burns. There is a scene where the mosquitoes fly in a little spiral and land on Kiri, and the little spiral they're flying in makes her fall asleep, which is foreshadowing for the guy getting like hypnotized by the pregnant women later on in the episode. So that makes more sense. And there's also a scene where one of her classmates is visiting Kiri in the hospital, and they're taking a walk outside the hospital grounds, and they stumble across a dead body that's been killed by the pregnant women or dumped out in the bushes by the pregnant woman. So there's that. Also, as far as explaining why everything was cleaned up the next day and the people don't believe her, Kiri has a monologue in the chapter where she wonders if the husbands cleaned it all up for them. And I was like, oh my God, I hadn't even thought of that, but that's wild. And it also explains that the women, they're like, oh, well, the women just needed blood for their babies. What's the big deal? And that shows just how the town is spiraling and people are starting to not care about all this insane stuff happening. They're just like letting it happen and accepting it. Chapter 11 is called The Umbilical Cord, and it is one of the creepiest chapters for me. Kiri catches her cousin draining a blood bag because now they can't, go out and just kill people randomly, so they're drinking blood in other ways. All the babies are born. Keiko names her son Makio, and Kiri is discharged. But as she is discharged, like all the women are holding the babies, and she notices that their stomachs are swelling, and she's like, that's weird. And so in this chapter, Shuichi is not there by and by. It's just her. So she questions it, and the doctor, who ends up being the one that like sews the baby back into Keiko, she's like, why is this happening? He's like, oh, it's just a belly band they're wearing. And she's like, that seems weird. And as Kiri starts to question, the babies start to scream, which sounds like the siren from the city. And I'm like, oh my God, the connection. And so the scream actually causes her to trip down some stairs behind her, and she ends up staying in the hospital another week. And that's when the events of the rest of the episode pan out. She does say that she did not eat the mushrooms, which were the placenta, and everything else in the episode that we saw in episode 3 happens in the chapter. Now, I would say that the most not necessary chapter of the entire manga, and I questioned it last week, is chapter 12, which is The Storm. The chapter starts with Kiri on the beach with Shuichi, who looks really bad, like looks at his worst. And she notes that she would have died if it hadn't been for him at this point. It does draw out the chase between the Sharknado storm and Kiri, but it's like the episode. It's probably my least favorite chapter because how they survive that spiral and end up by Dragonfly Pond, not explained. Horror story logic, I guess. I can't blame the anime because the chapter itself ends the exact same way. And I'm like, again, some of the chapters in this manga are very vignette-like. They're just like kind of one and dones. And I get how that would be very hard for the anime to adapt, but you don't want to leave it out because then people are going to complain that you left it out. So they're just kind of like, we'll just shove it in because that's how it feels in the manga. That's how it feels here. Mm-hmm. Now, the events, the last chapter that goes along with episode 3 is The House, chapter 13. And that's with the typhoon taking out their house, Kiri's family is forced to stay in one of the row houses. Now, this chapter, I wish we would have focused a little bit more on this because the family immediately doesn't want to stay in the row houses. And it's not because they're haunted or are connected to the madness of the spiral. No, the mom doesn't want to stay in the row houses because it's a dump and it's where poor people live. And I'm like, oh. So it's really a commentary about how people don't want to be associated with people they think are of less status. But it, like we talked about in this episode, the idea of the chaos that spirals because of disaster and displacement and a loss of control kind of gets reiterated in this chapter when the mom is like, I don't want to stay here. It's a dump. Only poor people stay here. And the town's like, there's no other options. So they end up having to stay there. Now they meet their neighbor, which is the creepy guy, Wakabayashi. He's the creepy guy, and we get a lot more with him. He kind of explains, he seems like a very nice guy in the chapter. He seems very stable, and he's like, oh, we ended up here too because of the typhoon. It's not so bad. Also, everybody starts getting warts on them, which are those little spikes and stuff. Everyone starts getting them in the shape of a spiral. We get more on the old woman who has the roots growing out of her. I wondered if we would see the son and his body. We don't. We don't see the son's body. And all they see is like, there's like some boards with holes poked in them. Like he had the spikes growing out of him, but we don't see it. The series conveniently does not give that to us. It lets us use our imagination on that one, which is equally as frightening, right? So the dad really starts to get affected by the warts, which to me was foreshadowing that he was going to be like one of the next to go. And along with Mitsuo, who again, one of the next to go. And they manage to get away from the house like they do in episode 3. And the story just says, the manga just says the warts go away when they leave the house. Why the shell doesn't go away on Mitsuo and whatever, who knows? So chapters 14 through 18 are this episode. Chapter 14 is called Butterflies, which is essentially everything that we see happen with the news crew and Cheery showing up. Now, the only difference is when she gets to Dragonfly Pond at the center of the city, she notices that there's some kids tied up to some like poles and debris. She lets them down, but then we find out that they're part of the butterfly gang too, and they're making tornadoes as well. Like the whole town has accepted the fact that they can make spirals and everybody's going crazy, right? Which Shuichi throughout this entire rest of this manga is just like everybody's going mad. And he's just kind of like trying to slowly accept the madness, right? Chapter 15 is called Chaos. We get inside the row house. Now in this, one of the residents, he like knocks into the wall of the row house and finds this map inside of it that shows a huge map of the city, and it's a spiral like what we talk about at the end of the episode. So that part was kind of cool. But what is so creepy about this episode and this set of chapters is talking about the threat during a crisis of starving. And Mitsuo, who's a kid, he's the one that brings up food a lot. He's like, hey, I'm hungry. When are we going to eat and all this? And that's kind of scary because you think of kids that are stuck in like in disasters and in times of war and things like that are constantly like wanting food. Like it's a real necessity and problem that keeps getting brought up. And around this time, Kiri's like, well, we need to leave town and we can find you some food there. But the dad's like, I'm not leaving town. I'm going to go back to making my ceramics. And she's like, in the midst of everything going on, you're going to do that. So again, it's kind of like the horror of even when you know something bad is happening where you live, it's that uncertainty and that like threat of not having control that often keeps people staying there. They're like, well, I don't want to take a risk, so I'm going to stay here and rough it out. And it just, you know, can cause things to go from bad to worse. So I thought that was a really interesting theme that the chapter points out. There's the snail eating scene with the butterfly gang as well, which if you know, anytime you eat human flesh or, you know, you commit cannibalism, there's an enzyme in human flesh that makes people go crazy. And so I was like, okay, it's disgusting. I know they called it escargot in the episode, but I was like, those were people. And that is absolutely insane. Chapter 16 is erosion. Everything happens like it does in the episode, and we do get confirmation that Kiri did eat the snail meat, which is gross, especially when she finds out her brother's becoming a snail. Insane. I thought it was interesting, too, that the manga noted that people kept trying to come into the town, I guess to help, and then they ended up getting trapped there. Again, it's like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. It's like, definitely horror movie vibes. Very, very Twilight Zone. Chapter 17 is called The Escape. it's shown that there are others other than just Tanizaki who stayed behind and are trying to rebuild the town. I would say the creepiest part of this chapter that they didn't have in the anime is that they talk about how the sirens keep blaring in the city, but there's no power. And that it's happening irregularly, like it's signaling when people are trying to escape, which now looking back on the manga, I'm like, every time somebody tried to leave, is that why the siren was going off? Crazy. There is more talk of the people turning into snails. And then the trees are starting to change. And one thing that is creepy is that the one guy that was turning to a snail, the group's like, yeah, we're going to keep him behind on this leash as spare food. And it's like, oh my God. Like they were like, it's not like during a disaster when, you know, in horror stories where they're like, oh, it's a disaster. We're going to keep, you know, it's a disaster. We're down to like last straws. We're going to have to eat this person to stay alive. No, these guys were premeditating murder. And it's like, oh my God. Nope. Nope. It was so gross. So yeah. And the rest of the chapter is like the episode. So chapter 18 is Labyrinth. One thing that's cut out of the chapter, and I'm assuming it was just for time's sake, is that as they're going back through the labyrinth to get to the center of the city, there are more corpses of the twisted people in the middle of the outside the row houses, and we find out that the residents of the row house were throwing people out to try to keep it clean, and Tanazaki's like cleaning up the corpses, which is crazy. Honestly, the creepiest part maybe of this entire episode is when Tanizaki, who's been there for how many years, we don't know how long it's been, that's creepy in itself, but he says, he's like, oh, I've never made it to Dragonfly Pond. And I'm like, you've been here how many years in this little town and you've never made it to the center? Creepy. That creeped me out so much because I was like, oh, but it seems so logical that you should be able to do that, but you haven't? Oh my God, no. So everything plays out pretty much how it does in the episode. We do get confirmation that when Kiri gets to the bottom of the ruins, Shuichi can't walk because of his fall. And so he tells Kiri to leave him and that the city has taken on a life of its own. And it mysteriously calls on the people above it every century or so to complete its ritual and all this. And it feels like Kiri and Shuichi are the last two residents of the city who haven't succumbed to the spiral. And maybe in order to stop the spiral, they have to succumb and just end it. And so that's why they end up joining at the end. And I do love that Kiri says at the very end that they stayed like that for eternity in each other's arms. There's something very like eerily, oddly romantic about it in the most horrific way possible. But yeah, it ends. And now the extra scene at the very end that they showed in the post credits is not in the manga unless it's in the afterword, which I haven't gotten to yet. So we'll see if that ends up happening, but it was not in the actual manga. There is an extra chapter where it's like called New Galaxies, and it takes place before the events of Uzumaki start, and Kiri and Shuichi are like looking through their telescope and they discover a new cluster of stars, but it's in a spiral. And it makes like one of the people they're working with go crazy, and it's like a precursor, and it also kind of sets off Shuichi being like, oh my God, this spiral's insane, I don't like this. And it almost seems like it kind of gives explanation of why Shuichi is so thrown off by the spirals from the start. So there's that. So yeah, let's talk about this afterward, shall we? Shall we talk about this afterward? I'm gonna read it here from my phone. It says, the spiral. This feels very, very Rocky Horror where he's standing here. Such a mysterious pattern. With the manga Uzumaki, I, Junji Ito, attempted to find an answer to the secrets of this enigmatic shape. To understand the spiral, one must carefully observe it. To begin my studies, I spent hours staring into its depths. I ended up just feeling dizzy. Next, I decided to read all the reference materials about spirals I could find. I always end up falling asleep partway through. I guess there's nothing else to do but actually make spirals myself. In the water in the tub, I would form a whirlpool and drain away. Oh my God. I still didn't understand much, so I took the next step of eating spirals. Sushi rolls, moriguchi pickles, fiddlehead ferns, zenmai, turban shells, soft ice cream, spiral-shaped cookies, nejurimbo, rice, candy. It was all delicious. Finally, I raised snails. All they did was leave behind orange-colored feces. And so, as a result of my researches, the answer to the enigma is near at hand. Soon I'll report my findings, but is the world ready? Ito's, where's this month's comic? His editor. Oh my god. So the afterword. Hello, this is Spiral Research Laboratory. Junji Ito, Manga Inc. Ito, this is Nakaguma from Big Comic Spirits. I've got incredible news. What's going on? Listen, this is big. I found someone who knows the secret of the spiral. What? Someone knows the secret of the spiral? Who is it? I'm really not sure. All I know is that some guy who lives by himself up in the mountains of the G, whatever it is, prefecture. Ito, let's go meet him. Yes, in the G prefecture. Minami, take care of things while I'm gone. Yes, sir. So they fly. Even I couldn't solve the enigma of the spiral. Who could this mysterious person be? My curiosity grows deeper by the second. He lives alone deep in the mountains. Could he be an old hermit, some gnawed backwoodsman? Or perhaps he's a scientist thrown into disrepute because of his unspeakable findings. Will we even come back from this alive? What is the secret of the spiral? At last our destination lay before us. But were those lowering clouds a premonition of the doom awaiting us beyond those mountains? And then it says it was just a dream. Oh my god. So then he says the horror. This is Nakaguma speaking. I'm in trouble. Ito, what's going on? He's here. The spiral master, Uzumaki-sen, is in my house. Uzumaki-sen? What are you talking about? Don't you remember last volume? The two of us went up to the mountains of the G prefecture and we met the mad hermit. What are you talking about? That ended with a stupid, it was just a dream punchline. It wasn't just a dream. It was a real punchline. Ito, stop kidding around. Even my editor has abandoned me. And then it shows him with like this old hermit that's all around spirals. So you want to know the secret of the spiral, do you? It's easily done. But first I need more food. Bring me some more delicious spirals to eat. This time, there is no punchline. Oh my god, is that it? Oh my god, and that's it. Wow. So there is no punchline. That's it. We'll never find the ending of the spirals. Honestly, I thought that was really interesting. I am glad that I watched Uzumaki. It was very creepy. I'm not likely to forget it anytime soon. And I do think that a lot of its themes, especially about the spiraling of poverty, the spiraling of narcissism, the spiraling of corruption, and how it affects us and how we become obsessed with it, I do think that it touches on a mental side of us that is very noticeable. So I thought that was intriguing. But yeah, I'm glad I watched the series. I'm glad I read the manga. The manga is beautifully drawn, by the way. Beautifully. So if you get a chance, I would highly recommend going and checking out the manga. The anime does a good job with what it had, but the manga is gorgeous. So if you get a chance, it's very creepy, and you want a creepy manga to have for Halloween, this is definitely the one to do it. And the ebook, honestly, if you get the digital version, it was like $15. So for the deluxe edition. So it wasn't that expensive for a deluxe edition. Usually the deluxe ones that are like 3-in-1s are like $20 to $50. I went through a retailer starting with a B, ending with an N, Obles. And they had it for like $15.99 was the ebook version for all three of the manga. So it was a pretty good deal. Not bad. And you can read it anywhere. So you can creep yourself out at all times. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts down below, that's for sure. But I hope to talk to you real soon with more reactions. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back on the channel for another Saturday reaction next week, and we'll just see what we get. Bye! Happy Halloween! Ha 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 ha!